The EU has been delivered yet another blow to its long-term future following the release of a major French poll. In the poll by IFOP Europanova, commissioned by Le Journal du Dimanche, released on December 25, the majority of those asked call for an end to the EU. Once those polled who answered undecided were excluded, 58% called for an end to the bloc, despite France taking over the rolling presidency. Of the 1,022 asked, 40%, which was the majority, called for a Europe of nations with greater sovereignty for France. This was in contrast to the 29% who called for a more integrated Europe. Although Emmanuel Macron will now take power of the Council of the EU, one outspoken critic labelled the bloc as outdated and ineffective. In an interview with French publication, Front Populaire, Brexit campaigner Charles-Henri Gallois also attacked the bloc for violating France's sovereignty. He said, "I think that the French intuitively understand that European sovereignty is a dispossession of France. It is also a grotesque concept and an oxymoron. Sovereignty can only be national. As General de Gaulle said, sovereignty and democracy go hand in hand." Amid the uproar over the replacement of the French flag under the Arc de Triomphe, Mr. Gallois criticized the French president for the despicable act. He added, "This flag of shame even replaced the French flag on January 1 under the Arc de Triomphe, above the tomb of the unknown soldier." A despicable affront to all our soldiers who died for France, in particular, to preserve it from imperialist Germany. France began its 6-month presidency of the EU Council on January 1. This position will also coincide with the French presidential election in April. Mr. Macron has already called for an EU-wide minimum wage, tax on carbon emissions and increased regulation for big tech companies. He said, "This agenda for a sovereign Europe will be accelerated with the French presidency." Europe must rise to the major economic, educational, migration and military challenges. The French presidency must be a moment of truth for the regulation and accountability of digital platforms, the carbon pricing at European borders on imported products, minimum wages and our relationship with Africa. Over the weekend, the EU flag was taken down from the Arc de Triomphe following outrage from some officials. The EU flag was erected to mark the beginning of the French president but sparked outrage from politicians, such as right-wing leader, Marine Le Pen. Ms. Le Pen claimed the act had been an attack on France's national identity. Conservative candidate Valérie Pécresse also objected to the position of the EU flag, said, "Preside over Europe yes, erase French identity no."